Right. Well, welcome everyone to Photos for the Common Sim Racer. I am Sean Ghostmother. Please like and subscribe. You don't have to, but so got a couple of questions there, and sort of I know Mike did a photo stream as well. But I thought I'd just show a different point of view on how I do things. So it's not about who's the best or anything. It's about sharing ideas and improving as a whole. So first thing I want to do is get a replay going. So we are going to Valencia next week in the M2. So I just went out and did a couple of laps. Nothing great. So the first thing I do, I know you can't hear it, but I put music on. That's sort of how I focus and how I relax. So first thing you want to do before you even think about taking a photo is go into your options, go to your video. So I've got these all saved. So they're all for different reasons. So I've got photos, race one, replay one, and boosted one. These ones I use more for my 720 photos, so it's not as finely detailed. These I use some, I haven't done them for a while, but I'm going to start doing some race recaps. But this is the one I use for photos, so it's called Boosted. And as you can see, everything is on pretty much epic. DLS sharpness, if you run DLSS, definitely turn it off, sharpness down to 0. If you run FSR, run your FSR in the best mode you can. I don't know a lot about FSR, but I'm assuming ultra quality would be the way to go. Everything else on Epic. HLOD disabled. Disabled and sharpening filter. Motion blur, I've enabled it. It just gives you those nice, those cleaner, crisper shots, especially when you're taking moving shots as well. Saturation I have down to 80. ACC is a really highly saturated game, so turning that down, that was just a nice clarity of color. I actually use that in a race as well. Image contrast, I used to have that at around 0.35, but I've actually brought it down a little bit and I'm finding I'm getting a better result. And then exposure gain I have at 0.10. I have a little bit, but not too much. That's the first thing you do is set your video settings up for taking photos. I'll apply that. Right, that's done. So, go into your replay. And this is another thing I like to do as well, is just watch a few corners or so, and it'll give you an idea of where the camera angles are on a track, and it'll help you take some really nice shots. By the way, this car is interesting to drive. Constantly feel like you're short shifting, and it understeers like a pig. Of course, you can play around with time of day and everything. I'm just using the race time of day because I find in these conditions they're actually the hardest to take photos. So if you can nail it in these conditions, when you get overcast or sunset, sunrise, I actually prefer overcast. I think it produces a much better realistic quality of photo. I watched a few laps. Look at the camber on that front. Holy moly. Alright, so let's take one, I think. Big line part of the track. So we'll go here. Alright, so now what you want to do, once you've done that and you're sort of thinking, okay, around this area of the track sort of where I want to take the photo, you're going to hit F7 on your keyboard. This brings you into free cam or drone cam as Mal does it. You know, he's a legend on the drone. And this is what I do now. I just get a rough idea of sort of where I want to take the photo. what angle I want to use. I'm thinking it's quite aggressive on the front. That back a bit. So what you use is use the arrow keys to your forward, back, side to side. Then you use the mouse to free cam it. And if you scroll on the mouse wheel up or down, it slows this up. See, so fast, slow. Speed that up. So I'm thinking that kind of shot. But now I'm going to press play and just wait for that perfect moment. No danger of hitting an apex there. So it's a real patient game when it comes to this. And that's the thing with taking photos. Like, I used to just bang out heaps, and I was like, I wasn't enjoying it as much. And now I just don't take as many. I try and make them a better quality and more exciting to look at. Oh, there we go. Perfect. I'll move this around because I want to get that grandstand in the background. So also there's a thing with photos called the rule of thirds. So you basically want your subject matter to be in 1/3 of the photo everywhere. Ooh, I like that. Get that down a bit lower. Up. All right. Okay, so I've got the general area of where I want to take the photo. So now it's about playing with the camera. So if you hit your middle mouse button, or you can hit the left button and your middle scroll wheel to bring this up. This is your menu. So the first thing I do is get my focus in. Anything below 12 looks horrible. All right, so I want this actually to be in the middle of the photo. I want a bit of that grass as well, see if it blurs, that sort of sense of speed. I want that actually front and center, right there, I reckon. All right, that's that. Now, the depth effect. I always go to far. I don't know why. I don't know if it makes much of a difference, but that's what I do. So I go to far, and then I want the aperture prob. So I start it normally at about 7, and click this up, and this blurs the background. That gives you even a better sense of speed. So what you're looking for, see how it's sort of faded in the background here? That happens a lot, by the way. I want a bit of fade in the background, but I don't want too much that it's going to blur out the back end of the car. I'm going to bring that down to probably 6.1, up a little bit. What I'm looking at to judge it is this line here. I want that to be a nice sharp line. Display count, all that does is change these from a sort of a squarish image to a nice circular image when it comes to light. All right. I'm pretty happy with that photo. All right, so what you do now, I always go back 10 seconds, press play. Now we're going to hit F2 on our keyboard. F2, try again, John. F12. Now I took 3 shots then, because I like to take 3 shots because what it does, it gives you a chance to have a look at 3 slightly different photos and choose the best one. So that's what you do in ACC. So now what I do is I get my Photoshop up. Oh, there's my Photoshop. Oh.
Thank you very much. Have a good race. Had to work quite a bit for it. I mean, it's obviously also the new car since this year, so we had to figure out a bit how to work with it and how to get it fast. The Mercedes have been very strong all season. It's been not easy to beat them, but we did a few times, and I think we are where we are. I think we deserve a bit to be.
All right, cool.
To have these points.
Professional streamer here, by the way.
Hopefully we can end it well.
We already have 2 championships in a row, so let's try to make it 3. We know Valencia is a good track for the Mercedes.
All right, now I'm in Photoshop. Now Photoshop's free. I don't pay for the fully expensive one. If I was fully serious, I'd get Lightroom. I find Lightroom's better. I've got it, but I've only got the trial version. So there's Photoshop. So go to my pictures library. Now, when you take a photo in ACC or a screenshot, it'll default to your Steam screenshot file. So that's where all my photos are. So let's choose what looks this. Oh, this one, huh? Yeah, nice. Okay. So there's our base photo. So the first thing I'll look at with Photoshop is I go to this one. This is your Magic Auto Enhance. And just have a look at it and think, is that alright? Or yeah, I'm not liking that very much, so I'm going to have to manually do it. Now I use 2 kinds of filters. I either use this one, or for those real poppy kind of shots that I do with a bit of light, I use this one as well. So we're probably going to go with this. We're going to reduce it, I reckon, a bit. Because I will get rid of some of this visionette as well. I love it, but it needs to be used for certain shots, I feel. So, these are your adjusters. So the first thing I do is pop my contrast up to 80 and leave it there and then come back to it. Highlights. So what highlights do? They highlight all the little things, so the shine off the bonnet and everything like that. If it's too high, it just brightens the image up too much. So I like to run it sort of around that 85. This is really good in dark light conditions as well because it really highlights the lights and you can see the detail in the lights. Because we keep forgetting the ACC is a very pretty game. Oh, that's annoying, but that's stuck down there. That's alright. We can Photoshop that out. Alright, shadows. So shadows, what they'll do is, what it says basically, shadows. So I'll give you an explanation. See, it just lightens everything up when there's breaks in different light and different colours. And if we go dark, it just darkens all the details around the front bar, around the tyre and the rim. So I reckon about 55 for now. White, well that's your white balance. So I always crank that up to 20. Then my black balance, I always crank down to 20. And you can play with these to how you like, but I have sort of a base thing that I run with. Now, colour I leave to last. Battle effects, now I love clarity. It's one of my favourite filters. So I'm going to run that at about 40. Grain, I like to run at 5. As most photos. It just adds a little texture, especially to the background. The haze, now to haze, what that does, just gets rid of all those. See, that's, whoa, full haze. No haze. Again, probably about 15 will run that. And fade, I like to use quite a bit. This is what I feel adds the realism to the photo. So, there that goes. Now here's that visionette. So we're going to remove a bit of that. So already you're looking and going, that's not a bad photo, is it? But we can make it better. Now we come back to colour. Temperature's a big one for mine. So this is your cooler temperature. This is your sun's blazing temperature.
I think the race will be difficult for passing, so I think qualifying's key.
Depending on the light conditions, is depending on what I run. For a sunny day like this, I actually like to run it a little bit high. Just gives a bit more of a, for mine, a bit more sunshine to it. A bit of brightness. We're in Spain, in Valencia. It's quite naturally a bright place in the world. Tint, I very rarely use. Vibrance, these are probably your two most important filters. Because as I was saying earlier, that ACC is very saturated. So what you really want to do is bring a bit of that back and just tone it down a little bit. So we'll go to 15 for vibrance, and then saturation, we'll run it about 5, I reckon. Now we go back to our contrast. And this is my slider. So now I can slide it to where I feel like it looks good. Pretty happy with that. And exposure. In these conditions, a little bit of underexposure I think is nice. It just makes the car more focused. So that's looking pretty good. So what I look for in a photo is the blending between the car and the background. Does it look natural in one shot? Does it look like this is sort of been plastered on top? That's what I look for. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. We'll save that. Saved. Done. Can I open up another photo though, just to give you an idea of sort of something a bit different? Let's see what we got. Photos everywhere.
Something that can have potential add-on penalties at the end of the race. Let's look at the racetrack quickly as they go around. Well, sector 1's gone, sector 2 are almost complete, 14 turns.
Let's have a look from last night.
For motorcycles, so all the entry curves and all the exit curves are virtually flat, and that's where we get this introduction of track limit abuse coming from.
I wasn't happy with my first photo of Page's car, so we'll do this one. This from last night. So here we go, under the bridge at Suzuka. And this is the standard photo screenshot in the game, non-touch. So looking at this photo, the first thing I'm thinking of, this area here, not important to me. Just really, this is definitely the focus. So I feel like it's going to, this might actually benefit from the wand. Not really though, does it? We can fix that. Right, so that's way overexposed for starters. I'm going to drop that down to 5. I'm actually going to reduce this a bit more. Crank that up. I want to go backwards. Right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. For mine, that's too much white. I'm going to go down to about that. Black's we're going to reduce to. Colour, I can already tell by looking at it that this temperature needs to come down a lot. Now, it is a very pink car.
Timur, obviously it's a big weekend ahead of you. The championship is still to be decided. We're all the way back on the 10th row of the grid. Do you feel that the penalty that you've suffered is fair?
We'll dehaze it. Haze. Right. There's some fade in there. Ooh, that's too much. You don't want it to look too washed. That's the key as well.
changing their lines. So
Go back to light. Go back to my contrast button.
some
Now we can play around with it till I'm happy with it.
places so it doesn't matter so much. But if they're saying like you need to keep racing speed at third sector.
Yeah, the pink's a really hard colour to work with. That's why I'm enjoying working with it. I think it needs grain. Bit of texture.
Behind on me was close.
Right, happy with that.
Yeah, so it's going to be a tough race ahead, and of course,
We'll
the challenge
save
is
that
to
to
feel your way
there.
through the traffic now.
So that's one thing you can do. Another really cool thing you can do as well. So if we go back to here, we'll reopen up the same photo.
And yeah, shoot without me. But you never know, so until the end.
Thank you very much. Have a good race.
Is now I've got to remember which filter it is.
Obviously also the new car since this year, so we had to figure out a bit how to work with it and
It's purple.
how to get it fast. And the Mercedes have been very strong all season.
More of a magenta. No.
It's been not easy to
Blue.
beat them, but we did a few times, and I think
Aqua.
you know we are where
Orange.
we are. I think we
Ooh, that's a bit funky, isn't it?
tried
Go with
to
purple.
we had
What this does is basically makes the car coloured
and did well.
and any of the colour coloured, but everything else is black and white. So we can play around with this a little bit as well.
For the Mercedes, not so much for the Audi, but we also know we have
So we can do that.
evolution from last year.
And what we can do is we can pop in here,
How it goes, but I believe
hit
we
it
can
with
be
this.
constant and just score good points,
Whoa,
and just do our
that's
best.
funky.
We should be in the mix. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But
We won't do
goal
that.
is definitely to be champion. Yeah.
Alright, so
Race wins have gone the way of Timo Bogoslawski and Raffaele Marciello
thinking
this season.
that about
Traditionally,
there.
they tend to come out on top of race 2,
Highlights.
which Raffaele qualifies. Key to their chances
Put those
this weekend
down.
is going to be the pace of Timo Bogoslawski in the qualifying
Shadows
session
will actually
and how close to the
increase
opposition
a
he
lot.
can stay in the opening stint of the opening race.
Whites
For Raffaele Marciello,
up a bit,
this
blacks
is
we
an
can
important
reduce a little
weekend.
bit.
Yeah, let's say they're quite strong now.
That's the thing with your photos as well. You know, you don't have to just do colour photos. I love me a beautiful sepia photo. It's one of my favourite things. I know there's other people that love the high contrast black and white. Some like these pop colour kind of photos. So don't feel like, yeah, you have to do your own style and anything like you have to form it. No, it's very much be artistic with them. Have fun with it. Alright, something I enjoy, especially after a tough race. You debrief and then you're like, I'm going to take some photos. It's just a good way to relax.
We have nice cars with us. The sun.
We'll add some clarity to that.
We're having fun in the car, so yeah, we always try
Put some
to
grain.
have fun, and I think it's the most
Haze.
important when you take pleasure in the car.
Whoa, that's a bit funky, isn't it?
Always follow, so I think this is part of the secret.
Fade,
Also, we
white,
won the
fade to
Silver Championship, so this takes
match.
out a bit of pressure. We still play something on the
Definitely needs a bit of
overall
that.
standing, so we have to be focused and do a good job this weekend. But yeah, with the silver title, a small pressure went out.
This one I feel like I could use just a touch of sharpening. Just to crisp the edges up around here. Yeah, and that's how you take sort of a pop photo. Oh. We'll call this page. Oops. Page 2. Done. Cool, so that's that done. So, probably the last thing I want to show you guys now is, well, guys and girls, and just you awesome people, is how I take race photos. So when I actually get into race mode and how to take those photos. So what we're going to do, we're going to back to there.
Yeah, it will be a special weekend one more time, and like you know, we can fight
Alright.
for all the championships.
I'm going to quit out of here. Confirm. Let's load up a race photo. Let's pick a race. Pick last night, I suppose. Holy moly, I've got so many different places. All right, here's last night. So again, the video settings I've got there, and this is from last night. So let's find the pack. Okay. So this is a really good shot at the hairpin. So the first thing I do when I'm taking race photos like this is change the camera to that angle. Toggle HUD. Go to first position. And I'm going to hit F7. Big fan of Shady's Lambo, by the way. Amazing. So I'm just looking at this already, and Shady's got a bit of a gap, so not kind of what I'm looking for. Well, he was looking for it, but I'm not. So we're going to toggle HUD, go back to change camera. Actually going to focus in. Focus in actually on Scotty Rochford. I'm going to go back 5 seconds. All right, I want him sort of at the middle of the apex. Now I can pull back. That's what I wanted. I love a good action shot, especially with the Dunlop sign in the background there. But I want it low to the ground. I'm going to put it around there, and we'll get this up. Focus in. So what I'm looking for here we're actually going to scrap the Dunlop sign. That's not my focus now. I want all these cars in shot. Get rid of the HUD. Now we're going to play around with it a little bit. Get that down like that. We're going to enable that. Go in. Now with moving shots, the rule I always remember is anything 2.8 to 3.5. All right, now we play with this one by one till we get the effect that we're looking for. I want to give Barney's tic-tac car here. That's what I'm sort of looking at. And these, I don't mind if these are blurred out a bit. I want the detail with all these. Yeah. Up a little bit. No, I can't. So again, go back. 10 seconds. Press play. So I took 4 shots there. So now what we do, we now go back to our Photoshop. For some reason my Photoshop's been weird now. And now it's on the main screen. Wasn't doing. Moving on. All right. Here's our photos. Have a look at this one first. Okay. Not a bad one, but we can always look at the next one. That's better. I like that better. All right. This is annoying. I really need to get rid of that. I don't know how I'm going to fix it. Right, so race photo. This is causes the focus. These two cars are my focus points. So we're looking at this photo. It's quite washed, a lot of haze. So the first thing I think that it needs hazing. Hit that 40. Go back, and then it's just a matter of just doing the same thing. So again, I have my process that I use, but don't be afraid to play around with all these. Like everyone has their own style, so definitely play around with it. Find what you enjoy, what you like looks good. You know, like all art, it's all subjective. I just like a good photo. But got some banging tunes on. 15 there. It is quite a vibrant shot. Moment. Fade. Right. So there we go. Done. So that's annoying me. Photoshop, we can get rid of that. Right. This. Okay. Yeah, you wouldn't even know. And that's that one. So we'll save that as well. I'm happy with that. Done. Cool. Well, I'll leave it there, everyone. If he's watched this later on, awesome. Any questions, please don't hesitate to flick me a message or ask me a question in the Discord. I'm happy to answer them. If you ever want photos taken of your cars for like social media or anything, please reach out. I'm happy to do it. I enjoy it. So, and it's all about giving back to this awesome community. But on that, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Good luck for those racing in the 12-hour tomorrow. Unfortunately, I've got to miss this one, spewing, but hopefully back on the next one. Really keen to get back in enduro mode. But on that, I hope you enjoyed it, the stream, and yeah, be good.